All right, good morning. Hope you guys are all having a good summer, and it's crazy how quick time flies, but an important month ahead here for us, in a lot of ways. Big recruiting month, official visits starting this weekend, not just for us, but I know the entire country, and we've got the team starting workouts here. They're back from a short break here in May, and they hit the ground running. Had a lot of guys stick around even when they could get away. So really pleased with kind of the mindset that we've developed, continue to grow amongst this team here this season. And then just getting the opportunity to continue to develop these guys. We've got meetings and workouts that we can work with them on. So big month there. And then the season will be around the corner. But we're just really proud of our staff. We brought in a number of transfers, and I think just finding the right guys first of all, and helping them really build into our environment. These guys have adjusted well. Our transfers adjusted well, and they I think now they're almost even being empowered to become leaders along with the guys that continue to lead the charge that have been in the program for at least a year, 2 years. We have really only 9 seniors this year on our football team, but we do have a big group of guys that have 2 years left. I'm not going to say juniors, but guys that have 2 years left. And so there's around 19 players kind of in that category, and close to 25 that have been on the football field for us in some capacity that have 3 years left. So a lot of experience returning. We feel good about that. We're not necessarily an old team, but we have a lot of guys that have taken valuable snaps that are looking forward to taking that next step. I think just when it comes to the recruiting, kind of going back to that, really looking forward to build on what we've done. These young guys that I'm referring to in the first 2 classes, they've kind of stayed the course and believe in what we're doing, what we're building, and we got to find the next group. It won't be a big group this fall. I think it will be, much less than what we've had the last 2 seasons, but a lot of that's because we have retained well and, again, brought in a group of transfers and don't have many seniors. So open for questions.
How do you measure the value of reaching the SEC championship game versus the potential detriment with the attrition that's taking place in that game over the years?
The attrition in which way?
Injuries.
Okay, that's what I thought. For me, this is a personal thing. It was really important for me, and I know we fell well short in the conference championship, but it was important for me, being my first SEC championship opportunity. Having only been in the league going on the second year at the time. I think that our team really felt strong about winning it when you're in that moment. I think, looking back on it, there are some things that were just a struggle when you look at kind of where the team was at physically, whether it was before or after. And but that's part of it. Our opponent Georgia had the same situation. They did a better job, obviously, of being ready for that game, however you want to put it. But we're going to learn from that, and we're going to continue to do everything we can and be better because of it. So it's an experience, and I think a lot of what we're trying to do is we grow our program, at least, when I say grow, I'm talking about in the last 2-3 years, just to build up. We got to have experiences together. I think you can always talk about what other teams went through or what this program's done, but until you've been in the fight together and you have those experiences that you can draw on, good and bad, that's really what we can remember and what we can learn from. And I'm looking forward to that. We last year talked a lot about the season before and how we came up short and we weren't great in critical moments. And we were towards the bottom of the league in penalties, and turnovers cost us, in 2024 in the games we lost. And it was a big discrepancy between when we won and we lost, the turnover margin. Last year, we kind of righted the ship in those areas. And so we got to continue to make sure our strengths are our strengths, and we got to continue to take care of the weaknesses that showed up last year, anytime throughout the season. And again, it's a new group of guys this year. So, you really start all over. You started over in January because the 40-plus guys, whether they're freshmen or transfers, that were in the meeting room, The guys that were in workouts, they weren't part of that experience, but you quickly get them understanding, what it's going to take those next steps here in our program.
How in this day and age did you manage to get a couple of quarterbacks who've been in your program for at least a year, in Keelan's case, and Austin's been for a long time, to stay and actually compete against one another?
No, I think that's a great question. I think I would give credit to both of those two. That Keelan and Austin are two guys that are competitive. There's two guys that really feel like they have a belief in themselves, and each of them feeling that they can go win the job and that they can do what it takes to win here in Alabama. But I also would say that I think there's an environment in that room, because last year with Ty being involved, there was 3 guys competing, and we continue to bring in more guys that want to be a part of it. Why do they want to be a part of it? They want to be a part of our program, of course. They want to be a part of our offensive system. But I think Ryan Grubb and now Brian Ellis being in that room as the quarterback's coach, and I'll give Nick Sheridan some credit too for keeping those guys around and kind of Brian's now bridged the gap there as the new quarterback's coach. But I think it's just what does it look like? And you're giving them opportunities, you're challenging them. They feel like they're getting better and reaching their potential, and you're giving them everything you got. And so they love their teammates. Their teammates love them back because they do stay, and they place priority on the most important things, and that's just being the best, bringing a great attitude and effort every single day.
Kalen, what's the right size for the playoff?
I've heard the arguments from obviously all 12, 12, 16, and 24 seem to be the most popular, right? And so, I can make an argument for all of them. I know for me, it's really not about a number. It's about just trying to win every football game, so we don't have to put it in a committee's hands. And that's our goal as a program at Alabama.
Kalen, you've talked about physicality and looking at, I don't want to misquote you, but just looking to increase that. What does it look like for year 3 and increase the physicality from your guys?
Well, I think there's times when we were extremely physical. I think what you kind of get tied into is the run game probably, right? And there's how the inability in important times and consistently to be able to run the football. And so I think there's more than physicality, because I think there's some very physical individuals on our football team. I think we have a team full of them, honestly. I think there's an execution piece that has to take place, and that involves everyone from the offensive line to the tight ends and running backs and receivers doing their job, and knowledge, right? There's knowledge to execute. A running back needs to know who's the unblocked defender and who's the guy he's got to beat to get an explosive play. And so I think there's a toughness, whether it's mental or physical, that is in our program. We made the playoffs, so we got to look at the things that we did. We made the playoffs and won 7 of 8 SEC football games, and went to a conference championship and won a playoff game. And so those things don't happen if you're not a tough football team in some regard. Now, we fell short of our goal, and so we understand there is more for us to accomplish when it comes to all those areas, whether it comes to the physicality or the execution. We're working on chemistry right now with so many new faces compared to what we had a year ago. So, I see our guys work every single day, and so I know they're strong. I know they want it. I know there's a toughness about them. There's a grit about them. Last year's guys, I'd go to battle with those guys because of who they were every single time I possibly could, and we're developing that with this team right now.
Kevin, when you get into that meeting room, what agenda do you have, or what issue do you want to push the most when you get to that meeting room?
With our team? The meeting room with our team? Here. Here. Well, I think all the topics are what they are. I think just having some clarity. To me, when it comes to the playoff and the number, it's about making sure that the best teams are in the playoff. So, are the 12 best teams in the playoff, or the 16, the 24? Are those best teams, in there? That's really, and just in all fairness, and as a competitor, that's what you want. Is just, are the 12 best teams in there? And if we can't get the 12, we've got to go to 16, whatever it might be. So, the scheduling piece and 9-game schedule, that's kind of done. And so, how does that play in? I don't think there's a way to understand, because there's not some secret formula. We know that there's going to be less games out of conference, which is going to make it harder to understand the strength of schedule that we all have, whether it's the SEC or other conferences. And so those are the things that, again, I can't sit here and dwell on. I just got to do what I got to do and with my football team, and that's help us win every single game to make sure it doesn't come down to a committee making a decision.
Kalen, why did you keep assuming you were involved in the decision, why did you keep the Ohio State game on the schedule? What were those conversations?
Well, I think the game that the Oklahoma State game was the one that, just with the addition of there had to be a game that we had to move on from, and I think both of our universities saw that, kind of just looking into the future and what was best for our programs. I think we mutually just saw that as an easy opportunity to kind of get our schedules where they needed to be. And so, yeah, I mean, everything we're doing right now, we're planning on playing that game, a year from now.
Kalen, is there a part of the current calendar that you would most want to change?
I guess it all connects, right? And so, yeah, you'd love to move the championship games at the end of the season up earlier to help with the portal timing and the academic calendar. It's all the things that that we discuss that you'd love to change, but I understand the challenges with it. You want the academic calendar to align with the season as much as possible. It carries over into our second semester. And so, we had official visits happening, and we already started our second semester there in January. We start school a little earlier in January than most. And so every situation, every school has a little different challenge. I don't mind having the OTA model that is being thrown out there. I'm open to that. I think we have to evolve, and I think there's always better ways to do things, and I'm certainly open to that, and we'll adjust as we decide on what's best. I think there's some very smart people out there that have good ideas that you got to be open to, and I'm certainly open to all of them.
With all the pressure at Alabama, do you feel like you've been there 10 years already?
No, you know what? It has gone fast, but there's been a lot that has happened. I think, to speak to your question, I've enjoyed the journey and how far we've come and the challenges that are in front of us. And I just, when you have great people around you, and I feel like I have that with our staff, just continue to add and yeah, there's people that move on, and we had some coaches that got great opportunities. I'm excited about. An Adrian Clem working with our offensive line, a Rich Owens, and Derek Nix working with our receivers, Rich working with our tight ends. I got great people around me. And so, when you're in the building and you're with the players and, you're doing what you love to do, and that's coach football and bring people together, and on Saturdays go out there and just be in stadiums that have 100,000 people, that's what we signed up for, and that's what you love to do. And so, in that regard, it's gone really fast. And it's hard to believe it is year 3.
What did Isaiah Horton bring Chipper while he was there?
Isaiah Horton? From last year?
Yeah.
What did he bring? He was a big receiver, big catch radius, long, so he caught those balls in some pockets and, was good in the red zone.
Coach, you said ball is ball, but now with NIL and portal, I mean, have things gotten just more complex than you could have imagined when you came into the league?
Yeah, well, I think, and it's not because of the league. I don't think that's what you're saying, but it's certainly, there is more time spent away from football, and coaching football, and so that's again where you got to have a great staff around you, and I feel like I have that, and I'm just trying to continue to find ways to be more efficient with those other lines of, things that we need to do to take care of, to where, again, you can make sure that, again, the main thing regarding football and what happens on Saturdays, that you're involved to the level you want to be.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.